All right, Mets fans, welcome back to the channel here. We are live. MLB winter meetings are continuing, and us Mets fans just got dealt a huge gut punch, a huge gut punch. Per Will Salmon breaking the news, Edwin Diaz is signing a 3-year contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It has been confirmed by multiple sources. We'll talk about the pivot points because we do have a Mets report talking about Robert Suarez and how them and the Blue Jays are now the top suitors for Suarez, with Diaz leaving New York to head to LA. Certainly not what I was expecting, especially with all the reports from the Dodgers beat writers. But as I mentioned time and time again, the Dodgers will always loom in the background. And when you don't expect it, when you least expect it, they will swoop in and take the top talent. Kyle Schwarber, we'll talk about Kyle Schwarber here in terms of the offensive market as well, because he's heading back to the Phillies on a pretty healthy deal, which will certainly impact Pete Alonso's market now that Kyle Schwarber is getting paid $30 million AAV. Yeah, I'm just taking some time to internalize this, right? To process this because, as soon as the Mets signed Devin Williams, we were like, okay, this is a great start for the bullpen. We need more. And you know what? You got to give it up to the Dodgers. They will show that they will continuously go out there and they are not satisfied. They are not satisfied with anything. Back-to-back World Series titles, they do not care. Tanner Scott, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, they don't care. They don't care. You know what pisses me off the most about this, though? What pisses me off the most, and you have to just congratulate the Dodgers at the end of the day, because no team is doing this. No other team in this league is pulling off what they're pulling off. So, honestly, tip of the cap. I hate to do it. I hate the Dodgers, but congratulations to them. What pisses me off about this is that this is a 3-year deal for Edwin Diaz. This is a 3-year deal. And so the Mets, and the sticking point with the Mets and Edwin Diaz was that they didn't want to go 4 or 5 years for him. And so you would assume that if a deal happened with the Mets, it was going to be for 3 years, which is exactly what this is with the Dodgers. I just can't believe it. I'm shocked. I mean, obviously, this is an initial reaction. We don't know what the AAV is. We really don't. It's still trying to be, it's still being reported here. Let's see. All right, Jeff Passan, breaking news. Diaz's deal with the Dodgers is for 3 years, $69 million. New AAV record for relievers, $23 million per season. That's crazy. That's crazy. $23 million. He didn't get the 5 years that he wanted. I think it was kind of far-fetched to kind of match that contract structure of what he originally got with the Mets. But $23 million for a reliever is insane. Absolutely insane. So there you have it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I appreciate it. Not going to be on here for too long. Just wanted to break this news and let you all know what's going down. If you can do me a favor and smash the subscribe button as well, if you're new to the channel, just, whether you're watching this on replay after the stream is done or listening in live, hit the thumbs up buttons and keep commenting your thoughts and opinions. I see a lot of pissed off Mets fans in this chat. A lot of pissed off Mets fans, and rightfully so. Yep. Salute to Rob. Highest AAV for a reliever ever is what the Dodgers just did. All I can do is just shake my head. 3 years, $69 million. All right. But if you're Edwin Diaz, listen, I'm sure the New York Mets were not matching $23 million. If they matched it, he's probably still a New York Met. David Stearns did not want to pay that couple extra $1 million. So what do the Mets have to do right now? Because, Okay, Edwin Diaz sucks. 6 years as a Met, multiple All-Star appearances, coming off of a career year. I get it. I get it. But at this point, you're at the winter meetings if you're Stearns. Another team that is willing to spend money is going to go out there now that Diaz is going to the Dodgers, and this is the Blue Jays I'm talking about, and they're not going to be afraid to spend top dollar to get plan B, which is Robert Suarez. And per Mark Feinsand, I think it was Feinsand. No, it was Morosi. With Edwin Diaz off the market, the Mets and the Blue Jays are among the top suitors for Robert Suarez, sources say, is what JP Morosi is saying. But Anthony DeComo, Mets beat writer, says something different. The Mets will now almost certainly proceed with Devin Williams as their closer and build out the bullpen in front of him rather than add a big piece behind him. Diaz's Mets tenure ends after 6 seasons. So I don't know who to believe. Are we believing DeComo? Are we believing Morosi? Because that's 2 very different reports. Are the Mets actually going to go out there and try for a guy like Suarez? We saw last night, I made a video about it. If you missed it on the channel, it was very late at night because the report came out late that the New York Mets and the New York Yankees both called the Brewers up for closer Trevor McGill. That's another option, but that's prospect capital for a guy that is also a top closer in the league, but he has 2 years of control left on McGill's contract. The Brewers, they're a wild card. Nobody ever knows what the Brewers have up their sleeves in terms of trades. Peralta, the asking price is high. I'm sure McGill's asking price, the asking price for McGill is also going to be high. And so going the trade route is always certainly a risk, but you do get that controllability at the end of the day if you do trade for Trevor McGill. I just don't see it happening. I don't see how a win-now team in the Brewers are going to let go of McGill. I don't see it. I mean, I don't. Oh. Yeah, okay, never mind. I thought we had a Robert Suarez update too. So I can really see this is going to ramp up really quickly because Kyle Schwarber, the other piece of this, I gave you all this piece with Diaz. This is the other piece right here. Because all these markets now, it was like the waiting game of the first domino to fall. Who is it going to be? And of course, it had to be Edwin Diaz. But Kyle Schwarber and the Phillies, per Mark Feinsand and Jeff Passan was on it first, agreed to a 5-year, $150 million deal, an extension that sends him back to Philly. And that presumably sets the market for a lot of these other top bats, including Pete Alonso. If you're Pete Alonso and you are there at the winter meetings as we speak, speaking with the Red Sox and the Orioles and not the New York Mets, because we know David Stern said that he's not meeting with Pete Alonso this week. You are ecstatic to see this deal go down for Kyle Schwarber. You have to be absolutely ecstatic. He gets the 5th year because for Schwarber, it was always the question, was he going to get the 5th year? Passan always thought that he was. I thought so too. Premier power bat. Now, Pete Alonso has the leverage in asking for the years, something that also is clearly going to work against the New York Mets and David Stearns, who do not want to give up that extra year for Pete Alonso. This is bad news for the Mets as it pertains to retaining Pete Alonso. It is, objectively, and I hate to say it, but it is. Wow. Big shock here at approaching noon East Coast time. I appreciate everyone being here. I'm giving you my raw reactions here. I don't really have, the statistics and everything to put up here. Scrambling to make this stream. Not going to be on here for too long, but I appreciate everyone in the chat. I see all the comments. I hear the frustration. I share the frustration with you Mets fans. This is a slap in the face, pretty much. This is a slap in the face. Now, like I said, the Mets and David Stearns can't sulk. That's not a good recipe for success. It has to be a pivot point, right? What's plan B? Just like we talked about from the DH perspective, I threw up a video, 45 minutes ago talking about Eugenio Suarez. What is plan B for the Mets now that you lose out on Schwarber? Do you go the Suarez route and try your best to re-sign Pete Alonso? Because I would still sign up for that. Do you make a play for Cody Bellinger for that versatility defensively? And also, from the bullpen perspective, what's plan B there? Are you content with Devin Williams being your closer? Because I guarantee you, most Mets fans, and we all agreed, Rob, myself, we are all agreeing, we were going to grade the Devin Williams signing based off of who was going to be the actual closer. If it was Devin Williams, we don't like it as much. If it was Diaz, Suarez, whoever else that can complement Williams in the back end, we like it a lot better. So are the Mets going to just lay back? Is David Stearns just going to lay back and hope that Devin Williams has a bounce back season in New York? Because we know that he was one of the better relievers in baseball from August onward. But everything up until that August point in a Yankees uniform was up and down, inconsistent. So, yeah. Edwin Diaz is Kevin Durant 2.0. Listen, if you can't beat him, join him. I guess that's the new wave with the MLB, as it is with the NBA. If you can't beat him, join him. That's a funny comment. But yeah, Kyle Schwarber is what it is. Did we all really, truly expect, the Mets to be serious suitors to land Schwarber? Probably not. We know that they were probably driving up the price point. And the $150 million, that's probably what the Phillies didn't want to pay. But you know what the difference is? And this is just my raw reactions here and my fan mind thinking right now. You know what the difference is of Kyle Schwarber going back on that deal? That is a healthy deal for him to the Phillies. Is between what the Mets are doing and them letting Diaz walk, is that the Phillies went out there and said, you have been a staple in our organization, and we don't think we can have enough success without you. So we will give in to the asking price. We've seen the Mets do this, especially with Steve Cohen stepping in a handful of times, right? Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo way back when. And the Mets chose actively not to do that and match, I would imagine, because we don't know. I'm speculating. I'm just speculating. I'll be very honest and say that. We don't know, but I'm assuming they didn't match the Dodgers' offer of 3 years, $69 million for Edwin Diaz. We all knew if the Mets, reporters were saying this, the way for the Mets to retain Diaz is give him more AAV if you want him on 3 years. That was the way. That was clearly the way. And that's exactly what the Dodgers did. I feel a lot different about this deal if it comes out that David Stearns, and I highly doubt this is going to be the case, because all along I said Diaz is probably going to leave. If you've been part of this channel, I said Diaz is going to leave because David Stearns is not willing to pay top premier dollar for any reliever. It doesn't matter how good of a season they're coming off of or how good they've been for the organization. It does not matter. David Stearns is not willing to do it. And so I was always skeptical that Diaz was going to remain in this organization. But I would feel a lot different if we do have a report that comes out and says David Stearns and the Mets did offer a similar deal and Diaz just chose to go to LA. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I would view this loss a lot differently. At least the Mets put their best foot forward in trying. So, I think you have to go out there and get a guy like Suarez. I mean, Fairbanks is fine. That's plan C, in my humble opinion. I think Suarez is the guy. I think you got to go out there and get Suarez. He's electric. He's also probably going to be in line for a 3-year deal now, given what Diaz just made. I mean, he is a little bit older than Diaz. I understand that, but I can see Suarez getting a 3-year deal as well. I don't know. I don't know. I all you can do is just sit back and laugh at this point because the Dodgers just do this all the time. And you know what the funniest thing about this was? Is that yesterday I saw Dave Roberts sitting up there on MLB Network in an interview, completely laid back, smiling, as if he knew something big was coming. And he just could not wait to see the MLB world's reaction. So, man. Wow. What do you all, let me see. Let me see this chat right here. Yeah, I mean, the Mets are not, I've always been saying the Mets are not going to be signing Valdez. I don't see it. Let me get into the chat here. Gave you all my initial reactions. I mean, more details are going to be coming out from the Mets perspective. We know the Dodgers perspective. We have those details. Give me the Mets details. Give me them. Did they make Diaz an offer, and what was the offer? We all want to know now. We all want to know. Sad day for Mets fans, says Robert. Absolutely, very sad day. Stearns. Oh, man. Stearns is going to have a lot of explaining to do. It's going to have a lot of explaining to do. I mean, it's entirely possible. This is entirely possible that Diaz sat up there, end of the season, and lied to everybody's faces in the media quotes that he was giving. Like, of course, what is a player going to say? That he doesn't love the organization? He doesn't know if he's going to be back? Yeah, I mean, he can say that, but no one's going to really do that. Especially if you want to build up your market. Maybe Diaz just didn't want to come back to the Mets with everything that's been going on. Maybe he didn't see and buy into this vision. I don't know. It's very plausible. So, John says, I've had enough of this team. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this is a true fan reaction. Because Diaz is undoubtedly, whether you were ever comfortable giving him the extra year and this type of money, he is undoubtedly probably the best closer in all of baseball, especially though he posted last season. You know, and it's a 3-year deal. If the Dodgers gave him 4 or 5 years, okay, we can make an argument for David Stearns to say, let's see how this plays out. You know, that could backfire for the Dodgers. But it's a 3-year deal. It's a 3-year deal. You wanted Diaz from a Mets perspective on a 3-year deal. That's what we thought was going to be the issue. But instead, he's going elsewhere to another team for a 3-year deal. That's what I don't understand. So I think, Chris, and you know what? I respect your opinion. I respect everybody on here's opinion. I think you might be the only one in this chat that I'm reading, just based off of this chat, that is saying they don't hate this for the Mets, that Diaz is walking. I hate it for the Mets. Yeah, listen, every closer is going to blow plenty of games. I mean, you look at every closer, that's going to be the case. Who's a better closer than Diaz? Please tell me. Should I do a poll? All right, let me do a poll. Kev wants a poll. Let's do this real quick. Hold on. Let me mute myself as I go and enter this in. Hold on 1 second. I don't want any background noise here. All right. I want everyone to vote in this live chat poll. I'm curious. I really do want to hear your thoughts and opinions. I'm reading the comments right now. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you enjoy these streams and the videos that we do. We're going to do another stream later on today, same time as last night, 5:45, and you'll get Rob's perspective. We're going to go and do the Mets Hot Stove Winter Meetings live stream. Do you think the Mets are better off now without Edwin Diaz. Yes. No. Okay. I can't believe I even typed that question out. Okay, I don't want to add another option. I don't want to add another option. No. All right, I started the poll. Hopefully there's not a typo. Do you think the Mets are better off now without Edwin Diaz? Everyone vote in the poll if you can, if you have the capacity to do so. Okay. It's yeah, anyways. So basically, yeah, Lulu, I'm pretty sure everybody voted no. I mean, I would be surprised unless you're trolling that one person votes yes on that. So if you don't want to allocate $23 million per year, like the Dodgers just did for Diaz, I'm curious if there's going to be any deferments in that payment, by the way. I'm curious because all this time we heard from the Dodgers perspective, we heard their beat reporters saying, this is going to be a big hurdle to be a major player in the Diaz sweepstakes because they have a lot of this money predominantly right there in Teoscar Hernandez, who they were looking to move on from. Well, Teoscar Hernandez isn't traded. They didn't move that money off the books. They didn't move really any money off the books. So how are they able to afford this deal? I'm curious how much money is going to be deferred here, if any. And I'm sure it'll be reported after I get off the stream. But we'll update you, like I said, on tonight's stream when we come back on the channel and are live. But, I'm not going to backtrack on this. Since this offseason started, I said the number one priority should be Edwin Diaz coming back to the Mets, especially after you got Devin Williams. That was even more so the case after you got Devin Williams. And now we're talking about Diaz as a Dodger. I think the Mets could have done 3 for 69. I think the Mets could have and should have matched that offer. And if he still picks the Dodgers, then so be it. I just have no confidence that David Stearns put up that kind of money in Edwin Diaz's face and said, here, you make your decision. Yeah, honestly, only because he didn't get the 4th year, he didn't get the 5th year. $23 million is a record high AAV for a reliever. But like I said, without the 4th or 5th year, that's still a pretty decent deal for the caliber of a pitcher that Edwin Diaz has shown himself to be. Yep. Crazy news. Well, at least we got the winter meetings exciting start that we wanted, that we were hoping for yesterday. Yeah. If Diaz went to the Dodgers for like 4 years, 85 million, something like that, then I could rationalize losing out on him if you're David Stearns. But this deal was totally doable from the New York Mets perspective, especially if they're still trying to build a winner. This deal is doable. Yeah, his brother is on the Dodgers. I think he's Alexis Diaz is still in the Dodgers, somewhere in that organization, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, I'm not sure if that was a sticking point either of his decision, but yeah, Dolo. I mean, I think we're all disgusted. This is absolutely disgusting to see this move be the first major free agency move of the winter meetings. This should have never happened, really. I disagree with this. Diaz did not peak 2 years ago. I mean, if he peaked, then why did he put up the numbers that he did in 2025? Now, I will say this objectively. The New York Mets can still win, and they can still be a lot better of a team in 2026 than they were in 2025 without Edwin Diaz. Like, let's also be objective for 1 second. They can still do that. Edwin Diaz put up just insane numbers, and the Mets still only won, 83 games? Missed out on the playoffs? So there is a correlation, and it would have helped, especially, given some of the pitching inefficiencies in the starting rotation, but they could still win. They could still be a lot better of a team. But I just don't see that many moves being on the table for them to move the needle and be better than the Dodgers, which at this point, ultimately, we can talk about how we're not going to compare ourselves to the Dodgers, but ultimately, if we are talking about winning a championship in Queens, that is the bar. That is the comparison you will always need to make moving forward now, is trying to be on the Dodgers level. And you can go out there and get a Robert Suarez. That's fine. I think you should, and you might have to. But that's still not going to put you on the Dodgers level. This Mets team has many holes. And maybe David Stearns, maybe that was the thought process in David Stearns' mind. Maybe we have too many holes to fill this offseason, and that $23 million can be spread across and allocated to other parts of our roster. That's why I also think Pete Alonso's probably leaving. I don't know. Hopefully, this is a sign that they are going to invest in the starting rotation, if anything. Hopefully that this is a sign of that. Because there's been a lot of rumors surrounding Michael King. We got into that discussion yesterday. But if you get Michael King, I'm fine with it. I get that there's uncertainties. You still need to go out there and get another starter. A top-of-the-line, innings-eating starter. Because Michael King, you can bank on him being that, and if he is great, fantastic, but it's still an uncertainty. It's still a question mark. So that's the only way I'll be happy. You really, really need to invest in your starting rotation now if you're David Stearns. Not a good start. Not a good start. It's like one step forward with Devin Williams, 2 steps back, now not being paired with Edwin Diaz. And this is what I'll leave you all with. Again, if you're just joining us, Edwin Diaz, 3 years, $69 million to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Kyle Schwarber, 5 years, $150 million back to the Philadelphia Phillies. So there's going to be offensive implications here moving forward for the Mets and every other team, basically not named the Phillies. There is a total possibility, and we don't know. We probably won't know until David Stearns gives his answers in his press conference and whatever. We don't know if Edwin Diaz even gave the Mets a chance to counteroffer. We don't know. It's all speculation. I've speculated on this stream that he did, and David Stearns just wasn't willing to put up the money. But at the end of the day, it has not been reported. And that is certainly could be the case, that he just looked at the Dodgers and said, I want to join that organization because I want to win something in my career. And you know what? He's not the first one to do it. He's not the first one to do it. So, yeah. I'll be thinking about this for the next couple of hours and trying to give you all some sort of rationalization. It does feel kind of like a sellout from Edwin Diaz, though, doesn't it? It does. I agree, Chris. It does feel a little bit like a sellout kind of move for Edwin Diaz. You know what? Congratulations to him. I understand it, but it just leaves a bad taste in, everybody's mouths, right? That is a part of this fan base with the New York Mets, especially with what he's meant to this organization. So, yeah, I don't know. Still in shock, to be honest. Still in shock. Now the next thing that the Mets are going to have to contend with is getting into a bidding war with the Blue Jays, unfortunately. And is anyone confident that David Stearns is going to outbid the Blue Jays for a guy like Suarez? Because I'm not. Yep. Go out there. I think Suarez is going to the Blue Jays. I'm just going to say this right now as my prediction. We might see it happen within the next couple of hours. I don't know. We might see it happen tonight. I think he's going to the Blue Jays. That's my prediction. I think maybe the Mets can hope for a package deal. Are we confident David Stearns giving up prospects either? Because now I'm not sure. If the Brewers somehow, some way, this is just like, I know that this was initially reported last night. I forgot who the report came from. I think it was like Morosi or somebody. I don't know who it was. It's probably not much validity to it. But if the Brewers are willing to just take a blockbuster package for both Peralta and McGill, I send that offer in. But of course, then you're taking the chance and the risk of Skubal also being available and you missing out on the Skubal deal because you gave up top dollar of prospect capital over to the Brewers for that blockbuster. That would be a kind of too quick of a desperation blockbuster to happen from the Mets perspective. I don't think that'll happen. I really don't. The Yankees are also, they said they called in on McGill. I don't think the Yankees are getting him either. This sucks. This does suck a lot. And it's okay to admit that as Mets fans. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be it for me. It was a little bit of a lunchtime stream talking about the latest reports. Everything to do with the Mets, but nothing to do with the Mets at the same time. Diaz is heading to LA. And Kyle Schwarber is heading back, as you see on this screen right here, back to Philly, in which, in what should make for an interesting scenario between the Red Sox, Orioles, and Mets on the pursuit of Pete Alonso. So I want to appreciate and thank everybody that joined in on this stream. Again, make sure to smash those thumbs up buttons, subscribe to the channel, more videos, more streams, more polls coming out on the channel. Do not miss out on all the latest content. And we will see where David Stearns and the Mets move from here. We will see what the plan is, if there is even a competent plan moving forward after you just lost out on your star closer. So, Mets fans, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And I'll see you all later tonight on the Mets Hot Stove, 5:45 p.m. Come join us. Let's go, Mets.